not without electoral or political power.
Why did he made the face like he just won that battle with the teleprompter. You lost, Joe. Welcome to Sara Gonzales Unfiltered. Well, day one of the Democrat National Convention went about as you would expect. Total chaos in both inside and outside the venue. Lots of screaming, crying, and everything was fake and gay. And I want to welcome Matt Marsden, BlazeTV contributor and actor and producer extraordinaire, to help me break down the highlights, or, lowlights rather, as we like to say here on Sara Gonzales Unfiltered, from the first day of the demonic extravaganza. I think that that's what the D stands for in DNC. The demonic something cult.
I think you missed an opportunity there because you introduced me after saying fake and gay, and you could have said, talking about fake and gay, Matthew Marsden.
The fake and gay expert himself, Matthew Marsden.
Yes.
So I want to first, let's just kind of set the scene. Okay, you're an actor. You know how to set the scene, okay? Mm-hmm. So we're taking a look outside, what was happening outside the event, all right? And our very own Blaze Media correspondent, Julio Rosas, was down on the ground. He was catching it all. And what he caught was, of course, rioters. Now, mainstream media will call them protesters. They're not protesters at this point. They're destroying property. And so he caught all of these moments of these rioters clashing with the police. And this particular video, I don't know if you can play it while I'm talking here, but this was after they gained entry onto the property by breaking down one of the temporary fences they put up.
Hang on, what's that? What is that thing? What is that thing?
What, the flag?
No, the thing. It's a fence.
It is.
It's a fence.
It's a border. It is a border.
It's like a wall.
It is.
Fancy that.
And so why would you put that up? Oh, to keep them out. Mm-hmm. And so here they are attempting to breach the second fence after they already breached the first fence. So as it turns out, walls probably would work better.
Yeah, you'd think, wouldn't you? You'd think. Why don't they just let them roam free?
Right. Yeah. I mean, just unlock your doors, keep them open, honestly. Now, so you're watching this go down with these, protesters, not rioters. And we've been reliably informed that this kind of behavior is mostly peaceful. Tearing down fences, pushing back against police, mostly peaceful. I mean, unless you enjoy wearing red hats while going on a guided tour of the Capitol, at which point you could spend decades in prison. But where there wasn't violence outside the DNC, where there weren't all of these pro-Palestinian protesters trying to pull down barriers to gain access. And now I would also ask, at which point, if you did do that, what were you going to do? Right? Like, what are you breaking the barrier down for? Are you trying to storm inside and with a megaphone? Are you trying to storm inside so you can destroy property? I would love to know, because none of them seem to understand what it is that they're doing there. It's just like the new cause. But where there wasn't violence outside the DNC, there were just liberal white women, or as I like to call them for short, demons, bragging and cracking jokes about abortions. Watch.
How many abortions have you had? How many abortions have you had? How many abortions have you had today?
DNC. I'm getting paid by George Soros to have an abortion on the stage with no drug.
Which way you going? Which way you going?
What do you mean, which way?
Which type of abortion?
What kind of abortions are there, Jack?
There's pills, there's tools, there's a number of ways.
So it's going to be on stage. So a normal person would think that they would use tools, right? And vacuum it out and do all of that. Like if I took a pill that takes several days and nothing happens, you won't see anything.
A normal person.
You should probably study how female anatomy works.
A normal person. Thank you for pointing that out, Matt. A normal person would never say, I'm getting paid by George Soros to go have an abortion on stage. Was that not perfect?
It's perfect. They just
nailed it.
They're evil.
Yes,
they're evil people. It's just the weirdest thing.
But they call us weird. JD Vance is weird.
JD Vance is super weird because he's a normal guy that worked his way up. But that is totally normal. Getting paid to do an abortion on stage, totally normal. JD Vance likes his dog, holds his lead funny. Weirdo.
Well, you forget he did go to college, and like there is a picture of him passed out in the corner.
Yeah, I just think.
What a weirdo. None of us have ever done that when we went to school. I promise, Mom and Dad, that was never me. I have to say that because they watch my show. Because that would be really weird and not at all normal, okay? So, yeah, like it's just this demonic cult, this demonic behavior that apparently thrives on talking about abortions. I mean, remember, we talked about this yesterday, the abortion bus. Okay, the abortion bus, they're like, free abortions, come ride in our bus and you can kill your baby too. And then they've got people outside there talking about getting an abortion on stage. And then you've got people actually getting violent with the police outside the venue. These are not what you would call stable individuals.
No, but this is what they built, right? You know, the Democrats, what they did was they wanted to enable every single group they possibly could because those groups would actually mobilize against the right. Mm-hmm. And what has happened is Kamala, even though, as we've said before, they're the most leftist candidates you could wish for, they've gone a little bit to the right, and that is not acceptable. Mm-hmm. It's unacceptable to these people. Right.
Which is so funny because it's only on one issue. And I wouldn't even say that like they've gone right. It's just that they're stuck because they don't know like who to appease because they've created these radicals. So they just want to like give the illusion.
Oh, they haven't done it. I mean,
they're moderate.
They haven't gone to the right. Like we know they're full of crap, right? But that's what they want to say. It's the same thing with the tips with Trump. You know, they realize that they're radical. They're losing America. Americans, you know, the left is just such this little sliver of people. And it's like the squeaky wheel gets the oil, right? They're the loudest. They complain the most. They have access to the media. So it looks like they're disproportionately bigger than they are. Right. But the truth of the matter is America is, you know, gathered around the center, right? Like that's where it is. You might be a little bit left, you might be a little bit right. So they know to win, apart from doing something like, as they say, shenanigans, they have to have the appearance of coming towards the right. A little bit, and be more centrist. But we know they're not. Yeah. But those morons don't know it because there's zero tolerance. You know, the tolerant crowd have zero tolerance for everyone else, including their own people.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, they're like, you don't want to kill Jews? Oh, we hate you. We can't stand you. Like, that's how radical these people have gotten. So, okay, so everyone in this party, it seems, is radical in some way, shape, or form, whether it's pro-Hamas protesters, because I did see there have been some recent man on the street interviews of people literally saying, like, yes, I support Hamas, so do all of the Palestinians. It's not just me. The Palestinian people do support Hamas. This is in America, by the way. The Palestinian people do support Hamas, and October 7th was great. Right? Like, they're just openly saying it, right? So whether they're radical about that, whether they're radical about abortion, whether they're radical about chopping genitals off of children, like these people are very radical. And so while all of these radicals were outside the venue in the streets of Chicago and all of this violence was happening, which was like, oh my God, violence in Chicago. Who would have ever thought that would happen? So on the inside of the venue, let me give you a little bit of lowlights from who we heard from on the inside of the venue. Okay, you recall the RNC. It was very uplifting. It was very patriotic. It was really, really great. I mean, they did a great job of highlighting stories that really told the American dream. And so, on the flip side, the DNC, we heard from deranged individuals like Michigan State Senator Mallory McMorrow, who, it was all staged. She walks on with this big, giant book, and she's like, this is Project 2025. And the lack of self-awareness in what she has to say is going to blow your mind. Watch.
Donald Trump would be able to weaponize the Department of Justice to go after his political opponents. He could even turn the FBI into his own personal police force.
No!
That is not how it works in America.
Oh? Are we sure?
That's how it works in dictatorships.
Correct. That is how it works in dictatorships. And I'm just wondering if they even understand the irony. Right? Do they have the self-awareness? 91 indictments. And throughout the night, they touted the 34 felony charges against Donald Trump. Like throughout that same night that they're like, if Donald Trump gets in charge, he's going to weaponize the FBI and the DOJ against his political opponents. Are you joking? We just heard you guys. Who do you want in charge? A prosecutor or a felon? Right? Like he's a felon because you guys did it first. And do you have the self-awareness? Do you understand how stupid this sounds to literally anyone else?
Well, what's funny about that is if you listen to the reaction, right? People are there and they're like, hey,
yeah.
We did that, but I'm not sure. And they don't know how to react because they know they've done it themselves.
Right.
Like they know they're like, this is ridiculous. But again, it's giant gaslighting. It's massive gaslighting. They are, as we've said over and over again, they are exactly what they accuse us of being. Right? They've done all those things. And people, I mean, look, again, I have this thing, even the weirdos on the left, there's something in them. I do think they're not maybe the complete radicals, but I do think there is an element of decency somewhere in them that they're like, hang on a minute, hang on, this is going too far, right? I noticed this the other day because there's a real adherence to the tribe, as in like, we are Democrats and we vote Democrats and our family is Democrat. I didn't grow up in that, right? So I didn't come from that background. You could, in the UK, people flip from Labour to Conservative all the time. And I don't know what my mom or any of my family voted for.
Really?
Well, I know what they did in the last election.
Okay.
But before then, I didn't know.
You were
growing up. I had no idea because, they have good ideas that will help our local area because they weren't those big hot button issues like abortion is not an issue in the UK, right? It's just not. There's not a pro-abortion and a anti-abortion. I'm not going to say pro-life and pro-choice. It's all BS.
Right.
So I think that there are people there that now that have kind of followed along like we're Democrats. And you saw it with the Don Lemon thing. And now people are going, hang on a minute, like this is just wrong. Like they know, they might be there, but they're like,
Well, there were certain people that I did hear booing at one point. And they're like, he's going to weaponize. And then they're booing against Donald Trump doing that. And I'm like, boo yourselves.
Yeah.
Boo yourselves. You guys did it. Boo yourselves. So we also, of course, these are all the heavy hitters coming up on stage. So we did hear from AOC, who I want you to pay close attention to the actual words that are coming out of her mouth because it didn't really sound like she had anything of substance to say, but she did say that zero substance thing with some new accent that I guess she just recently discovered that she had. Watch.
And I, for one, am tired of hearing about how a two-bit union buster thinks of himself as more of a patriot than the woman who fights every single day to lift working people out from under the boots that breathe, trampling on our way of life.
On our way of life. What is that? What is that? And what did she just say?
I just zoned her. I zoned her out. Like I could watch her, like with the sound down.
The two-bit and the way of life. What did you like? She's like, I'm fresh off the plantation. You're like, everyone's turning black in the Democrat
She's
Party,
like Brad Pitt in Snatch. You remember that in Snatch, where he's like, the caravan, the dogs.
Yeah.
It just shows you how absolutely fake they are.
They're all fake.
They don't have identities. They don't have their own identities.
No,
So
they're
that's why
all
they
fake.
move. They move around. It's literally because they're NPCs. They're not real people.
They are. Well, and I know John Doyle has said before, like these are the old theater kids from school. Sorry.
Hey,
No offense. Matt's like, I resemble that remark. Actually,
I do resemble that remark.
I do too, actually. I was like in the show choir. Yeah. That was me too. But these are like the theater kids that they felt like they never got their big break. And so they have to like play it out in the political scene instead. And everything they do is so contrived and so fake and also gay, as it turns out. Okay, let's go ahead and let's do this. Let's take a quick break. And then obviously the whole, like the star of the show was Joe Biden passing the torch to Kamala Harris. And as it turns out, that didn't happen until much, much later in the program. But don't worry. There's a reason for that. Okay, so we'll get into that. First, we want to thank our sponsor this segment, Cardio Miracle. So Cardio Miracle, by the way, I met the owner of this company whenever I was at Matt's movie premiere. And they're really, really good people, and they sell an amazing, amazing product. It's my pre-show ritual. I drink this stuff every day before the show. It tastes great. It's like 50 of the finest food and plant and herbal ingredients in the world. And if it's low energy, vitamin depletion, maybe you're taking prescription meds you don't want to be taking, maybe you just want a better night's sleep, you really need to look at Cardio Miracle. All right, so heart disease, diabetes, kidney disease, Alzheimer's, dementia. Joe, are you listening? Joe, what it does is it actually helps stimulate your body's natural healing pathways to produce the molecule nitric oxide. So it can give all of that stuff such a great boost. Try it. It's cardiomiracle.com/Sarah. You get a 60-day money-back guarantee. There's no reason not to do it. Use code Sarah for 10% off your first order. If you subscribe and save, you will save 15% off with free shipping. That is cardiomiracle.com/Sarah. Promo code Sarah. So I'm going to give full disclosure here. I did not stay up to watch Joe Biden's farewell speech because it was really late. Did you actually watch it live?
No.
It was so late. He didn't actually get on stage until 11:30 p.m. Eastern time. And this was supposed to be the primetime event, right? And so not me, but someone way more sinister than me might say, well, obviously they stacked the night with all these other speakers so that they could push Joe into the end of the night where nobody was watching and everybody was sleeping because he embarrasses all of them. So again, not me, someone a little bit more conspiratorial than me, but there's actually a different explanation that was given by DNC Chair Jamie Harrison. Watch.
And part of the reason why we ran a little late is because every single person got rounds of applause for what they were saying.
Oh, you know what it was, actually? He actually left his green room on time.
Yeah, he
just couldn't make it. He was like, boom, boom, had a little bit of a nap, got up, walked that way a little bit. Oh, where is it? Oh, where are we going?
I mean, hours and hours late, and he's like, it was just because everyone was clapping too hard. We couldn't get them to stop clapping. They clapped for hours.
They just lie and lie and lie and lie.
They do. That actually is the common theme of kind of like the entire show when it comes to the Democrats. And to that point, Jill Biden, they did like all these introductions. So Jill Biden came out and I'm sorry, that was very disrespectful of me. Dr. Jill Biden came out and made these remarks. And then Ashley Biden came out and introduced Joe. And then Joe spoke. And so they made this whole production out of it. But speaking of liars, let's hear Jill talk about why and, the process of Joe stepping down. Watch.
And weeks ago, when I saw him dig deep into his soul and decide to no longer seek re-election and endorse Kamala Harris.
He dug deep in his soul, which we know he doesn't have, but he found it briefly and dug deep in it. And then he just decided of his own volition, you know what? I'm going to endorse Kamala Harris. That is not the story that anyone heard at the time. This was, of course, a forced outing. This was a forced, like Obama, Nancy Pelosi, who, by the way, has basically admitted it at times. This was Joe Biden being forced out because they knew that he couldn't win. And yet, Jill Biden says he was just digging deep. He dug deep, Matt.
How many times have we said on the show that this woman is evil because she was pushing a clearly demented husband out for the world to see, and it was just completely embarrassing? And then she stands up there and says that they have absolutely no shame. This is what conservatives really have to understand. And I'm talking to I'm going to do it again. I'm talking to the DeSantis, I'm not voting for Trump people. Do you see what they do? Right? Power is the only thing that they care about. That's it. Not principle, nothing like that. All they care about is power. They just went up and completely lied. We all know Joe Biden was basically Abraham Lincoln, Benjamin Franklin, and George Washington all rolled up into one, and he was just so much better than all of them. So much better than all of them until he debated Trump.
Well, right, I know. And that's the thing that's so frustrating is like, by the way, he's still president right now. And everyone was talking about it like this was this big farewell speech because he realizes he can't do it. He even said during the speech, he's like, well, I mean, I love my country more, you know, and it's like, but you're still president. You're still Why is nobody else concerned with the fact that you're still president? You guys are now readily admitting he can't handle it. But we're not talking about the other half of that, which is it's only August and nobody seems to be concerned with it. It's all about the election. It's all about winning at whatever the cost.
Yeah, they don't care. And it's the same thing with Kamala, where she's like, when I get in, I will do this. I'm like, you can actually do it right now. Like, you can go and ask the guy that's right there, the guy that isn't really running anything. And we all know he's not running anything. We know that you're not going to run anything really.
Right.
You could go and do it right now. But just go and do it. It's really simple.
I know. And yet she's like, what day one? What is my job again? What is my... Oh, I'm actually second in command. Oh, well, that makes this really awkward. So let's play some of Joe Biden. We got the main event. Okay. It was only 6 hours past his bedtime. So I'm sure he was razzed up on all sorts of stuff. And we got the main event, Joe Biden passing the torch after he dug deep, of course, in his black heart. After he dug deep, which, by the way, did it seem strange to you that he was introduced by Ashley Biden? I'm like, this was the man who showered with you inappropriately, according to you. Seems a little weird.
No, but JD Vance is weird.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's right. I forgot.
Sharon with your dad.
I forgot what's weird and what's not these days.
Sharon with your dad. Totally not weird.
That's normal.
JD Vance sleeping on the floor. Totally weird.
Totally. So let's play some of Joe Biden. I mean, you know, the party of unification. They just want to unify. Okay, so let's listen to Joe Biden talking about Donald Trump and calling him a loser. Watch.
Just because I'm so damn old. But I'm not joking. Think of the message he sends around the world when he talks about America being a failing nation. He says we're losing. He's the loser. He's dead wrong.
Why are you so angry?
He's always angry.
I know. It's the only emotion he knows to give.
Many of you are very successful people.
Okay. He also announced, again, that we did it. We did it. We finally beat Big Pharma. Watch.
Beginning to fight for 50 years to give Medicare the power to negotiate lower prescription drug prices.
What?
We finally beat Big Pharma.
Guys, like, this is... what's really concerning to me is the amount of people in this country who are going to believe that line. Big Pharma had a payday from Joe Biden. Big Pharma had an ongoing cash cow from Joe Biden and his regime paying time after time after time for the COVID vaccine with your taxpayer money for a vaccine that, I know, you're not supposed to say it didn't work. Let's just say there are a lot of people who have a lot of new issues, especially when it comes to their heart, from taking that. And our taxpayer money funded it. Like, that was a cash cow for these companies. And now, I mean, it was unprecedented. And so he's like, we did it. We finally did it. We beat Big Pharma. You guys are like the biggest public-private partnership with Big Pharma that this country has ever seen. This is the biggest incestuous relationship with Big Pharma that this country has ever seen. And it was at the hands of Joe Biden. And he really has the audacity to keep repeating the line. This is not the first time he said it. We finally beat Big Pharma. What would that even mean?
Well, they beat Big Pharma. There's inflation's down. They'll tell you that actually, you know, you're really well off. You're better off than you were 4 years ago. I mean, it's just over and over again. But here's the thing. I do not think the American people believe in this one bit. I just don't. Because when we've said this before, it has to be personal, right? It has to affect you personally. It's like when they shipped up the illegal immigrants up to Martha's Vineyard, it became personal. This is personal. People can't afford their groceries. They know what's going on with Big Pharma. They know what's going on with inflation. They've seen it. They've seen the mortgage rates go through the roof. Young people can't get mortgages. There's no covering this up, right? And I think actually, although, and I've said this before on the show, that I think the Trump campaign really needs to step it up with their ads, right? Because their ads have been very, very weak. I've seen just hundreds and hundreds, like literally it's all Democrat, Democrat, Democrat. I don't think people are buying it though, Sarah. I really don't. I think that the ones that are out of touch and it's not really affecting the multi-millionaires out in Hollywood, yeah, they might be buying it. They might be nodding their heads, the Mark Hamills or whatever. Yeah. But I don't think regular folk are buying it at all. Yeah. At all. And that Don Lemon piece shows you that, because people are like, no, man, listen, I had it great 4 years ago under Trump.
Yeah, yeah. Your lips to God's ears, okay? So let me play one more for you here with Joe Biden. So obviously it's Joe. So you're waiting around like, all right, where's the big flub? Where's the big gaffe? He did not disappoint in that regard. Watch.
Women are not without electoral or political power.
Why did he make? He made the face like he just won that battle with the teleprompter. You lost, Joe. You definitely lost that battle. Can we please see that face?
Funny.
It's like, oh, I gotcha. Oh, you thought I wasn't gonna get it, and I got it the fourth try. Hey, I gotcha. I'm laughing so I don't cry. Because he is
nuclear codes. Nuclear codes. That's right. Just nuclear codes.
He's still in charge. Nuclear codes. That's really scary for me. So, boy, who knows what evening 2 has in store, but we'll watch so you don't have to. By the way, where's that whiskey? I might need it tonight. So let's, we've got more to come, but we got to take a quick break. First, we want to thank our sponsor, Jase Medical. So Jase Medical is there for those of you who you believe in the concept of being prepared for an emergency, right? You probably have, like, if you're like me, I don't know if you do this, I've got my emergency food storage. Takes up a lot of space, by the way. But what doesn't take up a lot of space, and you really need also if you are all about being prepared in an emergency, is the Jase case. So the Jase case, we have this at home. It's a personalized emergency kit that contains essential antibiotics and medications that treat the most common and deadly bacterial infections. They've got 5 life-saving antibiotics for emergency use. It's not only going to keep you, from, I don't know, potentially like dying in some sort of an unprecedented event where you are not able to find the medication, but it's also just very convenient. My friends have one. They got one from watching this program, and their son had an ear infection that it was a holiday weekend, and they were like, everything's closed. We're going to have to go to the ER or urgent care because everything's closed, but they were able to treat it right there at home. So make sure to go get you one. Also, they've got an exclusive giveaway where you can win a Jase case for life. So there's no purchase necessary to enter. Don't miss out. The giveaway only runs until August 31st. Enter today, jase.com/Sarah. When you buy, enter discount code Sarah at checkout for a discount. That is promo code Sarah at jase.com/Sarah. So, of course, at the DNC, they unveil this platform, right? Like what is the DNC about? What are they running on? And we've talked briefly about it because they've kept it under wraps for a very long time. Donald Trump was very, very early on, like, these are my 20 points that I want to get done. He's running on sealing the border, carrying out the largest deportation operation in American history. Whew. Is it me or is it getting hot in here?
Yeah, I'm like, sign me up.
I am turned on. Ending inflation, things like that. Kamala and the DNC, of course, released their platform. Part of that calls for the passage of the U.S. Citizenship Act. Now, this would permanently increase family-sponsored and employment-based immigration. The bipartisan border legislation would increase the number of immigrant visas that are available by 250,000 over 5 years. And of course, the DNC platform failed to mention that this, let's call it what it is, amnesty bill would also grant automatic citizenship and Social Security to the millions of illegals invading the country, including, by the way, they are very inclusive when it comes to these people because they hate your guts and they hate my guts. But this will also include citizenship for criminals, gang members, and human traffickers, which, I'm sorry, Matt, your son that's in the UK, how long does he have to wait?
Still got another 4 years, and he's 2 years in.
Until he can get to this country.
Yep, until he can come, and he's a good kid. He's got a degree.
So he's not a gang member.
Not a gang member.
Has he considered becoming a gang member so he can get here quicker?
I'm thinking that he should join the cartel so I can get him in. Then at least he will come here within my lifetime.
Right.
He's just getting punished. This is one of the big things. And when I put this out on social media, the amount of people and by the way, service members that come on and they'll say, we met our spouses over while we're in Germany, or we're over here, or we're over there, and they cannot bring their spouses into the country. It is so backwards. Again, there's this massive I keep going on about the gaslighting because it's happened in the UK, right, with the two-tier policing. It's happening over here. And it is so frustrating to me. I mean, I'm completely radical on this. I would literally sign up to go and be the head of ICE, and I would get rid of them all. Gone.
Yeah.
It is so annoying to me for those of us that have done, and everyone that's done this the right way. And it's a privilege. It's an absolute privilege to come to this country and to become an American. Mm-hmm. It is. I'm not going to diminish it. I'm not when Trump came in and he said, I'm going to make the citizenship test harder, I was really excited. Yeah. That's the difference, right? I didn't want it to be easier. I wanted it to be more difficult. Mm-hmm. But now they're just dishing them out, and every day I go on and I look for my son. It's as of today, still 4 years basically, because you have to go on and you have to see what is the local area, what's the wait time. It's 4 years. 4 years for the adult son of a naturalized citizen. How is that fair?
Well, the other part of this conversation is that they keep calling us conspiracy theorists for suggesting that there is some big overarching plan to bring these people in and grant them citizenship so that they can vote, and then they will never lose an. I know.
Oh, how dare you!
I know. I said the far right, crazy right-wing nut job thing that is called the Great Replacement, which they call a theory. It's not a theory. It's just happening. It's you can just cut theory off of it when you talk about this. What the hell else can you call this? They're letting them in on purpose. Remember, Texas National Guard is going and they're locking the gates and they're putting up razor wire and they are putting all the barriers that they can think to put up. And the federal government is literally going in and cutting the razor wire and opening the gates and like soldering them open. I mean, they are forcing this. They are letting these people in, and now they are trying to grant them citizenship. What the hell else do you call that?
No, and also just think about this. You've got some really, really great people that work for the Customs and Border Patrol and Homeland Security, and they're catching them, and they know what's going to happen. I mean, imagine that is your job, right? You are going
so
up.
Demoralized.
You're going against the cartels, though. They're shooting at you across the border. You're really risking your life. You know, they're on ATVs, they're on horses. I mean, you know that they're really bad on horses, right? Because, I mean, even then, that was despicable what they put up. Do you remember the picture with the guys with the horses? It made it look like they were whipping.
Yes, yeah.
It's just ridiculous. So they go and get them. They risk their lives. They catch these people. And then they're released again. And they're like, hey, come back to this court date. And you're like...
Yeah, but did they do this? But did they do the super duper pinky promise to come back?
Oh, you know what? I don't think they did.
Yeah. So you gotta look. It's code. If you do the super duper pinky promise, then they always show up. Yeah. So maybe take a lesson from me, Border Patrol. Okay. Yeah. I mean, it's got to be the most demoralizing job out there. And not what these people signed up, by the way. That's not what they signed up for, which is evident by the fact that they want nothing to do with Joe Biden. Like, they hate this.
Oh, yeah.
The Border Patrol Union has released letters expressing Joe Biden tried to say that Border Patrol endorsed him, and they were like, no, we don't. We want nothing to do with you. I think they even want, when he went to El Paso for however long he went to El Paso and did nothing, they released a statement ahead of time that was like, keep our name out of your mouth, which was just incredible to me. I mean, this is supposed to be like their ultimate boss. And they're like, no, we want nothing to do with you. Okay. All right. We've got more to, gosh, there's so much I want to get to today. But first I want to make sure to tell you guys, mark your calendars. All right. Thursday, this Thursday, the 22nd, is going to be a night you're not going to want to miss while the elites at the DNC are busy patting themselves on the back in their so-called official and dignified event where people are talking about having abortions on stage. We here at Blaze Media are doing what we do best, calling out the absurdity with some good old-fashioned truth-telling and, maybe a little roasting. We're doing this at 9 p.m. sharp, and we're going to go live and commercial-free with a roast session to follow. So, hear a post-speech analysis with Glenn Beck, then maybe stick around for the roast featuring me. Also, Dave Landau and Alex Stein. Stuberger will be there as well. And so you can make sure to tune in. All of the coverage starts at Thursday. This is at 9 p.m. Eastern. We'll see you there. Well, last night, Donald Trump revealed on Truth Social that Kamala's team turned down the Fox News debate. This woman who was like, say that to my face, Donald. Donald's too scared to come to a debate with me. Oh, well, look who's scared. My, how the turntables.
I don't know what.
I think that's
what are you drinking out? What is in that cup?
I know it's wrong. That's the point. The point is that it's wrong. How the tables have turned. All right. So Donald Trump posted, Comrade Kamala Harris has just informed us that she will not do the Fox News debate on September 4th. I'm not surprised by this development because I feel that she knows it is very difficult at best for her to defend her record-setting flip-flopping on absolutely everything she once believed in, including her statements that there will be no fracking in Pennsylvania and her horrible performance on the border. Our borders are, don't let anyone forget that, where millions of criminals and people from mental institutions and terrorists have been allowed to pour into our country, totally unchecked and unvetted. It's called, and she loves it, an open border. Can you say that last line? It's called,
and
she loves it,
an open border.
So this is just everything you see is fake. From them. Everything is fake. Kamala's her whole demeanor, Donald Trump's just scared. Yeah, I'll agree to a debate. Well, what happened, Kamala? Everything is fake. Earlier this week, Kamala kicked patrons out of the restaurant Primanti's in Allegheny County so they could bring in their own actors. Watch.
They kicked us out of Primanti Brothers. They said it's a You are terrible.
So here they are bussing these people in.
What happened to Primanti Brothers? They kicked us out of Primanti Brothers so that they could get the paid actors inside. Ridiculous. There's all the paid actors. Look at all these people.
Paying customers.
Holy hell. All these actors in these vans.
What is the saying, Matt? All the world's but a stage.
Yeah. I mean, it is... This is what happens in a banana republic, right? I mean, this is what happens in communist states. They set everything up. It's propaganda. Mm-hmm. They get the real people out the way. Oh, Kamala's so great. I mean,
this is so. But remember, add on top of that, they've already had a completely inorganic campaign online. They're trying to pay influencers to attend the DNC. They're trying to pay influencers to interview her. So that's what set the stage and led to this.
Yeah. No, but I mean, they're really good at it. It's just that this is so bad. They are so bad. I mean, look, just cast your mind back a few years ago and just remember that, and again, people just forget this. Biden was a throwaway. Like, there was no chance he was going to win, right? Mm-hmm. And we had COVID, right? Like COVID. And then he wasn't out doing any, he didn't do hardly any debates. He didn't do any meetings or anything. I remember that one where the cars like pulled up right, and there were like 3 cars, and he was there like by himself, like standing there. It was even that was completely inorganic, but they could get away with it. She is actually so bad and so unlikable, and then she picks the most far left guy to run with her, who is completely unlikable as well. I mean, it's just bad. Yeah. So if you're looking at this as a strategist, right, you're looking and you say, well, they've got to, because they boxed themselves in with her, right? There's nothing they could do because can you imagine those people outside the DNC if they would have kicked her out and put like Gavin Newsom in? Like, it would have been like,
oh yeah.
So she's a terrible candidate. They picked another. What do they know? What do they know? And by the way, I said it again earlier on. All I keep seeing is DNC ads. All I keep seeing, it's over and over and over and over, DNC, DNC, DNC. I think that a lot of people can see through it, but their spend must be absolutely gigantic.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. Incredible. Well, I mean, when you lie all the time, you have to spend a lot of money trying to convince people that your lie is not, in fact, a lie. And it's not just Kamala who is doing all of the lying in the Harris-Walz campaign repeatedly. And as recently as like April, I think, Tim Walz has said in campaign fundraising letters, my wife and I used IVF to start a family, right? Like this has been one of his talking points, his major talking points when it comes to, they're very pro-choice when it comes to you being able to pick your own healthcare, but not with vaccines, okay? But in the instance of killing babies and apparently now IVF, they very much want that for you. And here he is actually in Arizona retelling what he said was his IVF story. Watch.
When we wanted to have children, we went through years of fertility treatment. And I remember it was like it was yesterday, just waiting for good news. And then the phone would ring and you would be tensed up. And then you would hear that the treatments had failed. It would blot out the sun. That you just wanted something so beautiful and so simple to have a child. And then one day, and it wasn't by chance, when that news came and we welcomed our daughter into the world.
Look at him. Look at
him. We named her Hope. We named her Hope.
So fake.
Just wait for the end.
I'm not crying, you're crying.
Oh, what a touching moment about IVF. Now, of course, he was saying this because he was trying to attack J.D. Vance on the IVF issue. In late July, Tim Walz tweeted, even if you've never gone through the hell of infertility, someone you know has. When Gwen and I were having trouble getting pregnant, the anxiety and frustration blotted out the sun. J.D. Vance opposing the miracle of IVF is a direct attack on my family and so many others. So, I mean, he very clearly has stated multiple times that he and his wife used IVF to conceive their children. Well, actually, that's not true. His wife, Gwen, the beard, had to clarify that she and her husband used intrauterine insemination, not in vitro fertilization, to have children. Big difference here, okay? Intrauterine insemination is like a turkey baster because he couldn't. I'll let you decide, but I'm just saying, I don't know. The way he's shaking his wife's hand on stage, the fact that he can't do the job inside his wife, he's got to use a turkey baster. I'm just saying, everything's fake and gay with the Democrats. He fits.
Sorry, go on. Did
check.
You notice how when he's doing the speech, he did this? Calling all body language experts out there to go and see what it is when you start touching your ear.
Wait, does it mean you're a liar or does it mean you're gay?
Yeah, it means you're a liar.
Oh.
Well, I mean, if you're saying you're straight and you touch your ears, then you're probably not straight.
You're both.
Then, are you?
You're both.
You're lying and you're gay.
I mean, but how disgusting to use. Look, like we could talk about, I don't want to talk about IVF as like a topic of contention. I realize that there are a lot of people who have different opinions on this. I very much empathize with people who are having fertility problems. And I think that it is a big issue here in this country because of the environmental concerns that we have, because of the reasons why, or the lack of reasons why, because some people, we don't know. They're still trying to find out why fertility rates are dropping the way that they are. But one thing remains certain: to use IVF as a talking point and try to claim it for yourself, when in actuality, intrauterine insemination is not used for people with fertility problems. It's used for homosexuals who have wives and want to have kids. Also, it's used for homosexuals, men who are married to or have relationships with other men and want to have a baby and use a surrogate. I mean, like, that's just like that. Sorry, blame science, don't blame me, but it's not even remotely the same. And here he is using people's fertility problems to try to capitalize off of votes for them by trying to own it when it didn't even happen to him.
They'll exploit everything.
Yes, they will.
I mean, that's the funny thing. And by the way, J.D. Vance is Catholic, like the president.
How weird.
Right now.
That's so weird.
So weird.
Ew, yuck, ew.
But here's the funny thing. Catholics, the Catholic doctrine is against IV. So you have actually J.D. Vance, who is being...
IVF?
Yeah.
Okay.
IVF, right?
Yeah.
Not IVs. I mean...
I was like, wait a second.
No, don't give me that saline drip. No, but so it is. It's so actually what J.D. Vance, if it is his stance, it's completely in line with his faith, right? In comparison to the president, who does everything that is absolutely antithetical to his faith. But then he's the most Catholic president ever, which, by the way, any Catholic that actually knows their faith will tell you that he's not at all. Right. But I mean, I don't know about all this basting thing. It's not been a thing that's been a problem for me.
Matt has like 1 million kids.
I don't really
use a turkey baster for any
No,
of them?
it's not really been a thing that I've had to worry about in my life. So,
really?
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. So I have some questions. I heard some rumors about Tim Walz. I'm compelled to believe them now that I see he needed a turkey baster to impregnate his wife. Just saying. By the way, I saved maybe the weirdest, sorry, I keep using that pesky word again when we're the ones who are weird. Maybe the weirdest part of the night for last. Let's go ahead and take a break and we'll be right back with that. All right, controversy on the internet right now is Ella Emhoff, okay, Kamala's stepdaughter, was in the little box or whatever with Doug Emhoff, her dad, Kamala's husband. And the body language here is very, I would call it strange. I want to get your thoughts, Matt. So here they are. And she's got her arm draped around the top of him, around his shoulder, firm grip on his shoulder. And he's got his hand around her waist, like very...
That's very weird.
It's weird, right? That's his daughter.
But J.D. Vance is weird, though. That's not weird. J.D. Vance is weird. That is not... That's odd. I mean...
That's
that
weird.
It's a very masculine thing for a guy to put their arm around, like, a woman.
Yeah.
Right? Like, hi, you know, or like, oh, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh, you could put it around the waist, but that's a masculine move. Like, you wouldn't do that to Stephen, right?
No, that would feel very foreign. But it would also be weird, I think, to like for my dad to like casually like rest his hand around my waist like that for so long.
It's all very weird.
But I mean, it comes from the top, right? Because Ashley Biden, as we pointed out earlier, showers with my dad at a young age, probably inappropriate. So who knows what's going on at the Emhoff household? Nothing good, I gotta tell you. She didn't shave her pits in that shower either.